Welcome to the deep dive. Most people think getting hacked means some criminal mastermind typing green code in a dark room to break through a firewall.
Right, the classic Hollywood hacker stuff.
Exactly. But the terrifying reality, getting hacked usually looks like a completely normal Tuesday. You're just logging into your bank with, the exact same password you've used since like 2015.
Oh yeah, we've all been there.
And suddenly your stomach just drops. You get a notification that your password was changed, or maybe a text asking if you just authorized this massive transfer halfway across the globe. You are basically living the modern nightmare of waking up to a compromised digital life.
Yeah, and the immediate reaction is just this profound sense of violation. I mean, a stranger is literally rooting through your private conversations, your finances, your identity.
It's terrifying.
It really is. It triggers a deep, visceral panic. And the unfortunate truth for you, the listener, is that this scenario is incredibly common, yet almost no one has an actual plan for when it happened.
Which is crazy, right? Because when that blind panic sets in, logic usually just flies right out the window. People start frantically clicking links, guessing passwords.
Freezing the wrong cards.
Yes, freezing the wrong cards. So today we're taking a deep dive into a really practical source. It's an article published by RHYNO Cybersecurity titled, "What to Do If You've Been Hacked in Canada."
A very necessary read.
Truly. Our mission today is to transform that overwhelming panic into a calm, structured triage playbook tailored specifically for you.
And I think we need to set a crucial baseline right away to sort of manage expectations here.
Okay, what kind of baseline?
Well, the vast majority of cybersecurity infrastructure, like the billion-dollar tools, the dedicated response teams, they are built almost exclusively for corporate environments. They protect massive enterprises.
Right. Not everyday people.
Exactly. So when an individual experiences a cyber incident, they might assume, they can just call up a cybersecurity firm to come fix it. But the reality check is that those firms just don't typically handle personal incident response cases.
Oh, wow. So you're saying there's basically no cybersecurity 9/11 for individuals. If someone breaches my personal life, I'm essentially my own first responder.
That is the harsh reality. I mean,
Yeah.
you are the incident response team. So this deep dive is really about giving you the playbook to understand exactly what to do in the first hour, the first 24 hours, and then the days following to stop the bleeding and regain control.
That makes total sense. So before we figure out how to fight back, I guess we have to understand what we're actually fighting. We need to completely dispel that Hollywood myth of the hacker we talked about.
For sure. We aren't dealing with someone deploying like a brute force algorithm to crack military-grade encryption.
Right. The source material is very clear on this. For individuals, a cyber attack is almost entirely identity and account driven. It's not a highly technical break-in where they smash the digital windows.
No, it's a walk-in.
Yeah.
They're using valid credentials to just walk right through the front door.
Because of credential stuffing, right? Let's break down how that actually works, because I feel like it highlights why our own habits kind of betray us.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So say you use a password on a random fitness app 5 years ago. That app gets breached. The attackers don't actually care about your fitness data, do they?
Not at all. They just take that email and password combination and they use automated bots to test it across thousands of other sites.
Banking, Amazon, email.
Exactly. Knowing full well that human psychology dictates we reuse passwords.
And the automation is the real threat there, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the bots can test millions of combinations in minutes.
Yep. If they get a hit, they're inside. Therefore, your recovery has to focus entirely on locking down those specific accounts, protecting the financial assets tied to them, and securing your overall identity.
Okay, so the clock starts ticking the exact moment you realize someone is inside. What is step one in that first 1 to 2 hours?
Secure your primary email account immediately. It is the master key to your entire digital life.
I want to pause on that for a second, because my instinct, and probably the instinct of anyone listening, would be to run straight to the bank account if money is on the line.
Right. Follow the money.
Exactly. Why prioritize the email over the bank?
Well, think about the underlying mechanics of literally every online service you use. When you forget your banking password, what do? You click Reset Password.
And that reset link goes straight to my primary email.
Precisely. If an attacker controls your email, they simply go through every single service you use systematically, trigger a password reset, intercept that email, and lock you out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they completely own your digital identity at that point. Without controlling the email, you basically don't control anything else.
Wow. Okay. So action item 1, change the primary email password. But a strong password isn't enough anymore, is it? The source stresses enabling multi-factor authentication, or MFA, on that email immediately.
Yeah, MFA completely shifts the security paradigm. It basically means that even if an attacker has your absolute perfect password, they still need a secondary temporary proof of identity to actually get in.
But there's some nuance here, right? Not all MFA is created equal.
Very true. The nuance is actually crucial.
Let's talk about that, because a lot of places still use text messages, like SMS, for that secondary code. And the source implies we should really be moving away from that. Why isn't SMS text vulnerable?
So SMS relies on the telecom network, which frankly has a lot of human vulnerabilities. Attackers use a technique called SIM swapping.
SIM swapping.
Yeah, they call your mobile carrier, pretend to be you, claim they lost their phone, and just convince the customer service rep to port your phone number over to a brand new SIM card that the attacker controls.
That is terrifyingly simple.
Right. And suddenly your texts, including all those MFA codes, are just going straight to the attacker's phone.
So what's the alternative?
App-based authenticators like Google Authenticator or Authy. They generate the codes locally on the physical hardware of your device.
Right.
They literally cannot be intercepted over the cellular network.
Got it. That makes the Authenticator app the gold standard. Okay, so once the master key, the email, is locked down with an app-based MFA, step 2 in this critical window is locking down your financial exposure.
Exactly. And the directive here is super clear. Call the bank or credit card provider immediately.
Because speed is the biggest factor in recovering stolen funds, right?
Oh, absolutely. A really common mistake people make is assuming they can just log into their banking app and tap freeze card.
Wait, that doesn't work?
I mean, if the attacker is already inside the account or if they've initiated a wire transfer, freezing the plastic card does literally nothing to stop the digital movement of money.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, you must get the financial institution's fraud department on the phone so they can lock the entire account architecture down from the inside.
Okay, so we've secured the email, we've frozen the money. Step 3 is triaging the remaining accounts. The source gives a very specific priority list. Banking first, primary email, and then work accounts.
Right, work accounts are huge.
The stepping stone concept here is genuinely terrifying. A compromised personal account becomes a weapon against your employer.
It's all about how attackers leverage trust. If they compromise your personal identity, they might send a highly targeted phishing email from your account directly to your colleagues or maybe your company's IT department.
And it looks completely legitimate because it's genuinely coming from you.
Exactly. It bypasses a lot of suspicion.
Right. So you move down the list. Social media, then cloud storage like iCloud or Google Drive, and you mandate completely unique passwords for every single one, using a password manager to handle the cognitive load.
Definitely. Those first 2 hours are pure triage. You're basically applying a tourniquet. You just cut off their access to the most critical systems.
Okay, so now that the immediate bleeding has stopped, the strategy shifts a bit. We enter the 24-hour containment phase. We chase the attacker out of the house by changing the passwords. But how do we actually know they didn't leave a way back in?
Well, the cybersecurity term for this is persistence. An attacker essentially assumes you will eventually notice the breach and change your password.
Right, they know they're on borrowed time.
Exactly. So their primary objective, upon gaining entry, isn't always immediate theft. Often, it's about establishing a silent foothold, like a mechanism to maintain access even after you've changed the locks.
Okay, so if changing my password is like putting a new deadbolt on the front door, what does persistence actually look like? I'm trying to visualize this. Is it them like hiding in the digital closet?
No, a better way to think about it is that they walked in, unlocked a basement window, and propped it open from the inside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you feel completely secure because the front door has this brand new lock on it, but they can just slip back through the basement whenever they feel like it. You have to actively hunt for these propped open windows.
Let's break down the actual mechanics of these open windows. If I've changed my password, how are they still getting my new data?
One of the most common and honestly most devastating methods is email auto-forwarding rules.
How does that work?
Once an attacker is inside your email, they don't just sit there reading your messages live. They set up automated rules. They basically program your inbox to automatically forward a copy of any email containing keywords like password reset, wire transfer, or invoice straight to an external email address they control.
And they often set it to delete the original email from your inbox too, right?
Yeah.
So you never even see the alert.
Yep, it's incredibly sneaky.
They don't even need to log in anymore. They're just getting a carbon copy of your life sent to some invisible offshore inbox.
Precisely. So you have to manually dig into your email settings, find the forwarding and routing section,
Yeah.
and literally delete any rules you didn't create yourself.
Okay, that is a must-do. What else?
Another major backdoor involves connected OEPs.
We see that all the time, but rarely actually understand it. It's the button that says log in with Google or log in with Facebook on a third-party website, right?
Yes, exactly. Think of Oath as a VIP wristband at a concert. When you click Login with Google, you aren't actually giving that new website your password. You are telling Google to issue a digital VIP wristband, an access token to that app.
Right.
And that token grants the app permission to access certain parts of your account without ever knowing your password.
I see where this is going. If the attacker gets into my account, they just authorize a malicious third-party app and issue it a VIP wristband.
And here is the absolute kicker. Changing your password does not invalidate those wristbands.
Wait, seriously?
Seriously, the access token remains completely valid. So even with your brand new password in place, the malicious app can still read your emails or access your drive.
That's insane.
You absolutely must go into your security settings, find the list of connected apps or third-party permissions, and manually revoke access to anything you don't recognize.
See, that perfectly highlights why the DIY approach often fails. People just change the password and stop there.
Yeah, they miss the persistence.
We also really need to talk about the physical device itself. The source raises a massive red flag about device hygiene. Let's say the initial hack happened because you clicked a bad link in an email and downloaded a malicious payload.
Right, in that scenario, the physical computer or phone itself is compromised. This introduces the huge danger of reinfection.
Let me make sure I understand the mechanism here. It's kind of like realizing your safe combination was stolen, so you go buy a new lock for the safe, but you set the new combination while the thief is just standing right over your shoulder watching you spin the dial.
That captures the danger perfectly. The specific threat here is usually a keylogger.
A keylogger.
Yeah, it's a piece of malware designed to intercept every single keystroke you make at the hardware level, before the browser even has a chance to encrypt it.
Oh, no.
So if you use an infected device to log into your freshly secured accounts, you're typing the brand new password right into the keylogger. You literally just handed the keys back to the attacker.
So you have to clean the device first, run a full, deep antivirus scan, update the operating system to patch any vulnerabilities, and strip out any suspicious browser extensions before you do any of this recovery work?
Exactly. And containment also extends to your legal identity. The source brings up a vital step specifically for Canadians, contacting Equifax Canada and TransUnion Canada to place a fraud alert on your credit files.
Right, to stop the attacker from leveraging my stolen identity to, like, open a mortgage or a line of credit.
A fraud alert mandates that creditors take additional, very stringent steps to verify your identity before opening any new accounts or extending credit. It basically acts as a structural firewall for your financial future.
Okay, so we've survived the 24-hour triage, the accounts are locked down, the back doors are closed, the credit is frozen. Now the focus shifts outward to the 48-hour protocol.
The documentation phase.
Yes, this phase is all about documentation and official recovery. The source provides a Canadian reporting roster, and frankly, looking at this list, it feels completely overwhelming.
Oh, I know. In Canada, cyber reporting is highly compartmentalized. There isn't just a single Cyber 911 that handles the entire life cycle of an attack. The agency you contact depends entirely on the specific vector of the crime.
Let's run a hypothetical scenario to make sense of this for you listening. Imagine the attack started with a fake text message claiming I had a package delivery. I clicked the link, they got my passwords, and then they used my identity to claim fraudulent tax benefits. Who am I supposed to actually call?
So you have to follow the trail of the crime, because it started with a text message, which is a form of phishing. You report that initial vector to the Spam Reporting Center.
Okay, that's one.
Then, for the overarching identity theft and fraud, you file a report with the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, the CAFC, and your local police.
Right.
Because they touch your tax benefits, you have to involve the Canada Revenue Agency. And if there were consumer scams involved along the way, you'd bring in the Competition Bureau.
Let me play devil's advocate for the listener who is just completely exhausted at this point. We've just spent 2 days in high-stress triage mode. Now I have to spend 5 hours on hold with 4 different federal agencies.
It's a lot, I know.
Does filling out all these reports actually do anything for me, the victim? Or is this just bureaucratic red tape feeding a government black hole?
The frustration is completely valid. Filing a report with the CAFC is not going to instantly deploy a tactical team to retrieve your stolen funds.
Obviously not.
However, The source is adamant that reporting is vital for one specific reason. It creates a formalized paper trail.
Ah, the shield of documentation.
Exactly. Think about the conversations you'll be having over the next month. You'll be fighting with a bank to reverse a fraudulent wire transfer. You might be trying to prove to a credit bureau that a new loan isn't yours.
And if you just call them up and say, I was hacked, they don't care.
Right. You're just a customer with a complaint. But when you provide an official police file number and a federal fraud report from the CAFC, your situation instantly transitions from a simple complaint into a documented crime.
That makes sense.
That red tape is actually the leverage you need to force institutions to protect you.
Okay, that makes the administrative headache completely worth it.
Mm-hmm.
We also really need to cover the what not to do section. I like to call this the recovery trap, because attackers know exactly how desperate people get when they lose their accounts.
Oh, it is one of the most insidious parts of the post-hack ecosystem. Attackers absolutely prey on the victim's panic. The source issues a massive warning against trusting unsolicited recovery services.
Right. Anyone who has ever mentioned being hacked on Twitter or Instagram has seen this. Within seconds, a dozen bot accounts reply, oh, I was hacked too, but I contacted this specific hacker on Telegram and they got my account back in an hour.
Don't do it. Those are secondary scams. They specifically target victims who have already proven vulnerable to an initial attack. Yeah, these scammers promise to use their own technical skills to hack back your account for a fee.
And let me guess, you pay the fee in cryptocurrency, they disappear? Or worse, they realize you're willing to pay and just start extorting you.
Every single time. The fundamental rule of recovery is that it only happens through official, platform-specific processes.
Right.
Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, they all have dedicated automated workflows for compromised accounts. You have to submit identification, answer security questions, and just wait. It requires a lot of patience, but utilizing a third party is guaranteed to make the situation worse.
Okay, message received. Stick to the official channels. Now let's pivot to the future. Having survived the attack timeline, how do we ensure it never happens again? The source outlines a minimum security baseline that every single listener should adopt today.
And honestly, the baseline is not complex, but it demands strict discipline. We've discussed the core components already. App-based MFA on literally everything, and entirely unique, complex passwords generated and stored by a password manager.
The password manager really is the unsung hero here. It completely eliminates the cognitive load of trying to remember 50 different passwords, which is the exact vulnerability that credential stuffing relies on.
Exactly. And the final piece of the baseline is maintaining a healthy skepticism of incoming communications. The source specifically highlights the rise of smishing.
Smishing being phishing conducted over SMS text messages, right?
Yes, and the mechanics of why smishing is so effective really rely on the medium itself.
How so?
We are conditioned to treat text messages with incredibly high priority. I mean, an email from your bank might sit in your inbox for a day, but a text message saying, urgent, your account has been frozen, click here to verify identity.
That triggers an immediate stress response.
Exactly. An attacker spoofs the caller ID so it looks like it's genuinely coming from your bank. You have to train yourself to never click links in text messages. If you get an alert, manually open your banking app or type the URL directly in your browser to verify it.
Good rule of thumb. But what happens when the DIY playbook isn't enough? At what point should a listener realize they are just out of their depth and need professional escalation?
The source actually provides several clear escalation triggers where an individual simply cannot handle the threat alone. The most urgent is ongoing extortion or harassment.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, if an attacker has exfiltrated sensitive personal data and is actively demanding money to prevent its release, that moves way beyond account recovery. That requires specialized legal or law enforcement intervention.
What if you follow all the steps, you reset everything, but the accounts just keep getting compromised week after week?
That indicates a level of persistence you haven't uncovered yet. It often points to a deeply embedded rootkit.
What exactly is a rootkit?
So imagine a spy who doesn't just sneak into the police station, but actively rewrites the police database so their own face never shows up in the system.
That's a great analogy.
A rootkit is malware that buries itself beneath the operating system itself. It intercepts the commands that your antivirus software uses to scan for threats, basically telling the antivirus, hey, everything looks clean here.
Oh, that's nasty.
If you are dealing with a rootkit, or if you are facing widespread multi-platform identity theft where someone is actively taking out loans in your name across the country, you absolutely need advanced technical support and specialized fraud investigators.
Got it. To summarize the core thesis of this deep dive for you listening, the modern digital reality is that cyber incidents will happen. A breach might occur despite your absolute best efforts. But your ultimate outcome is not dictated by the attacker. It is dictated by the speed, the structure, and the mechanics of your response.
Methodical prioritization is definitely your best defense. Secure the master key, log down the financial pathways, meticulously hunt for those open backdoors, and build that official paper trail.
Well said. Before we sign off, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. I intentionally saved a piece of the Higher Assurance Prevention section from the source material for this exact moment to really challenge how we structure our digital lives.
This is a really interesting point.
We talked extensively about how your primary email is the master key. The source actually recommends taking a radical step, separating your personal and financial email accounts entirely.
Yeah, it addresses the concept of blast radius.
Think about the logistics of your own digital footprint right now. You probably have one central email address that you've used for, what, a decade? It's tied to your bank account, your mortgage, your social media, your Amazon purchases, and, your random newsletter subscriptions.
Everything in one basket.
Exactly. If an attacker capturing a single email address gives them the keys to your entire life, isn't centralizing everything the ultimate design flaw?
It definitely creates a single point of failure. The architecture of a truly secure digital life should involve compartmentalization.
Like having different vaults.
Right. If your bank accounts and investment portfolios are tied to a dedicated, highly secure email address that you literally never use for online shopping or social media, an email address that essentially no one else even knows exists, you drastically reduce your exposure.
Because if your social media gets breached, the blast radius is contained. Your life savings are completely insulated behind a separate, unknown door.
Exactly.
It definitely challenges the convenience we've all grown used to, but maybe it's time to stop living your entire digital life under one single roof. Just something to mull over as you audit your own digital footprint tonight. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take these steps, map out your response plan, and as always, stay curious.